Welcome to Attitudes. Attitudes are evaluative statements or judgments we make about objects, people, or events. They reflect our feelings about something. For example, when you say, I like my job, you're expressing your attitude toward work. Attitudes are made up of three components that help explain why we think and feel the way we do. First, there's the cognitive component. This is what we believe about something, our perception of the way things are. Next is the affective component. This is often the most powerful part of an attitude because it's tied to our emotions and feelings. Finally, there's the behavioral component. This describes how we intend to act toward a person, object, or situation. These three components work together to provide a more comprehensive understanding of how complex attitudes can be. Early research assumed that attitudes directly caused behavior. However, in the 1960s, Leon Festinger challenged this idea. He argued that sometimes our attitudes actually follow our behavior. We've all seen examples of this. People often adjust what they say to avoid contradicting how they've already behaved. When attitudes and behaviors don't align, individuals experience what's called cognitive dissonance. This is a state of mental discomfort caused by inconsistency. People are naturally motivated to reduce this discomfort and seek alignment between their attitudes and behaviors. Of course, people can tolerate a certain level of discomfort. However, the extent of the conflict depends on a few key factors: the importance of what is in conflict, the degree of control the person feels they have over the situation, and whether rewards or incentives are involved. Understanding this helps explain why behavior and attitudes don't always line up, and why people sometimes change their attitudes after the fact. Generally speaking, attitudes predict behavior. However, several factors can influence or moderate the relationship between attitudes and behavior. These factors include the importance the attitude holds for the individual, the degree to which the attitude aligns with the specific behavior, and the ease with which the attitude comes to mind. Social pressures also play a role. Sometimes, people behave in ways that are inconsistent with their attitudes because of expectations from others. Finally, personal experience matters. Attitudes based on direct experience are generally stronger and more likely to predict behavior. In short, these variables help explain why attitudes don't always perfectly predict behavior. Still, when they do, it's often because the person feels strongly, has direct experience, and faces little social pressure to act otherwise. Most of the research in organizational behavior focuses on three key job attitudes: job satisfaction, job involvement, and organizational commitment. Alongside these, perceived organizational support and employee engagement are also important considerations. Let's take a closer look. Job satisfaction refers to the positive feelings an individual has about their job, based on their evaluation of the job's characteristics. Job involvement describes the degree to which a person psychologically identifies with their job. In other words, how connected they feel to the work they do. Closely related to job involvement is psychological empowerment. This refers to employees' beliefs about how much influence they have over their work environment, their own competencies, the meaningfulness of their job, and their perceived level of autonomy. Together, these attitudes shape how people feel about their work, their level of engagement, and their likelihood of remaining committed to their organization. Another important job attitude is organizational commitment, which refers to an individual's strong identification with their organization and its goals, as well as their desire to remain a part of the organization. Perceived organizational support, or POS, is another key factor. POS reflects the degree to which employees believe their organization values their contributions and genuinely cares about their well-being. One of the biggest influences on POS is the perception of fairness. When employees feel they are treated fairly and believe they have a voice in decision-making, they are more likely to feel supported by their organization. Research shows that employees with strong POS are more likely to engage in organizational citizenship behaviors, or OCBs, meaning they go above and beyond their formal job duties. They also tend to have lower levels of tardiness and provide better customer service. Ultimately, Both organizational commitment and perceived organizational support play a crucial role in fostering positive workplace attitudes and behaviors. Employee engagement goes beyond simple job satisfaction. It includes an employee's level of involvement, enthusiasm, and emotional connection to their work. Highly engaged employees are passionate about their work and feel a deep connection to their company. In contrast, disengaged employees have essentially checked out. They may show up and put in the hours, but they lack energy, attention, and real commitment. Engagement is a growing concern for organizations because research indicates that only a small percentage of employees, typically between 17% and 29%, are highly engaged in their work. In many ways, engagement is a broad concept. It captures the overlap between the other job attitudes we've discussed, such as satisfaction, involvement, and commitment. In other words, engagement might represent the common ground shared by these attitudes. There is often a high degree of overlap between different job attitudes. For example, employees who are satisfied with their jobs are usually more engaged and demonstrate stronger organizational commitment. Due to this overlap, researchers continue to seek more effective ways to measure these attitudes separately. However, this similarity can sometimes make it challenging to assess them clearly and accurately. As we've already discussed, job satisfaction is defined as a positive feeling about a job, based on evaluating its characteristics. There are multiple ways to measure job satisfaction, but two approaches are especially common. The first is the single global rating approach. This method asks just one simple question, such as, all things considered, how satisfied are you with your job? Respondents choose a number between 1 and 5 on a scale ranging from highly satisfied to highly dissatisfied. The second method, known as the summation of job facets approach, is more detailed and sophisticated. It breaks the job down into key elements, such as the nature of the work itself, the quality of supervision, current pay, opportunities for promotion, and relationships with coworkers. By evaluating each of these facets individually, organizations can gain a more precise and comprehensive understanding of where satisfaction is high and where improvements are needed. So, what drives job satisfaction? Most employees find satisfaction in jobs that offer interesting work, opportunities for training, variety, independence, and a sense of control. The social context of the workplace also plays a significant role. The extent to which people enjoy the social aspects of their work environment significantly influences their overall satisfaction. In fact, factors like interdependence, feedback, social support, and even interactions with coworkers outside of work have been shown to impact job satisfaction, even when accounting for the nature of the work itself. While pay does affect job satisfaction, it's often less influential than people might assume. Research suggests that once employees earn a comfortable salary, typically around 40,000 euros per year, the impact of pay on satisfaction tends to level off. Personality also plays an important role. Studies show that individuals with positive core self-evaluations, those who believe in their worth and competence, tend to be generally more satisfied with their jobs than those with negative self-perceptions. In short, job satisfaction is influenced by a combination of the work itself, the social environment, financial factors, and individual personality traits. Employees have a range of ways to express their dissatisfaction at work. These responses are often summarized using the Exit Voice Loyalty Neglect framework, as shown here. Let's briefly look at each one. First, there's exit. This is behavior directed toward leaving the organization. It includes actions like looking for a new job or formally resigning. Then there's voice. This is a more constructive response, actively trying to improve the situation. Voice behaviors include suggesting improvements, raising concerns with management, and sometimes participating in union activities. Next is loyalty. Loyalty is a passive but hopeful response. It involves waiting patiently for things to improve, continuing to defend the organization against outside criticism, and trusting that management will eventually rectify the situation. Finally, there's neglect. This is another passive response, but unlike loyalty, Neglect allows problems to worsen. It can manifest as chronic absenteeism, lateness, reduced effort, or increased mistakes. Among these four responses, neglect best describes behaviors where employees mentally check out without actually leaving their tasks. It's essential to recognize that exit and neglect behaviors are closely tied to key performance outcomes, including productivity, absenteeism, and turnover. In contrast, voice and loyalty are more constructive, helping individuals tolerate difficult situations or even restore favorable working conditions. Understanding these responses helps explain why organizations with low job satisfaction don't always experience high turnover. Some employees choose loyalty or voice their concerns over leaving. The Exit Voice Loyalty Neglect Framework is a useful starting point for understanding how employees respond to job dissatisfaction. However, it's pretty general. To gain a clearer understanding, we can examine how job satisfaction is more explicitly linked to key workplace outcomes, such as job performance, organizational citizenship behavior, customer satisfaction, and absenteeism. Research consistently shows that satisfied employees tend to perform better. Happy workers are more likely to be productive. Job satisfaction also increases the likelihood of organizational citizenship behavior, or OCB. These are the extra voluntary actions employees take beyond their formal job duties. Things like helping colleagues or supporting the organization in meaningful but informal ways. Satisfaction doesn't just influence employees, it also impacts customers. Satisfied employees are more likely to deliver better service, resulting in higher customer satisfaction and loyalty. When it comes to absenteeism, job satisfaction has a consistently negative relationship with it, but the connection is usually moderate to weak. While dissatisfied employees are more likely to miss work, factors like health and personal responsibilities also play a role. Even highly satisfied employees may occasionally be absent for reasons unrelated to their job. Beyond these outcomes, job satisfaction also influences turnover and workplace deviance. Employees who are dissatisfied are more likely to leave the organization or engage in counterproductive behaviors. Interestingly, despite these clear links, many managers fail to recognize the direct impact of employee satisfaction on the organization's bottom line. As a result, they often invest little time in understanding how truly satisfied their employees are. Recognizing and addressing job satisfaction isn't just good for employees, it's good business. In summary, attitudes play a decisive role in shaping how people think, feel, and behave in the workplace. Understanding attitudes, including their cognitive, affective, and behavioral components, helps us recognize why employees respond the way they do. Job satisfaction, in particular, is one of the most important attitudes we can measure. It influences not only job performance, but also organizational citizenship behavior, customer satisfaction, absenteeism, turnover, and even workplace deviance. Satisfied employees tend to perform better, engage more positively with colleagues and customers, and contribute to a healthier, more productive workplace. Yet, despite these clear connections, many organizations overlook the importance of monitoring and managing employee satisfaction. In the end, fostering positive attitudes and promoting job satisfaction isn't just about making employees happier. It's about building stronger, more successful organizations.